Hey, everybody, welcome to Taking the Time. It's been about a week and a half. I hope you guys missed us, but you probably didn't.
Yeah, you're welcome, everybody, for the little break from our shenanigans.
Right?
So, yeah, no, it's actually we've just been we've both been busy traveling and things like that. Nothing real exciting, but just kind of bouncing around all over the place, and it's been hard to just get it nailed down.
Yep.
So we are back.
Yeah. Man. So what's going on? I can think of one particular Kickstarter that is live right now that is looking pretty good. Just launched yesterday, and that's the Valhalla.
No, Valhalla of Norway. Yeah, definitely. That
The Ox, is that how it's pronounced?
it's Axe.
Axe.
Yeah, it looks like it's O with a circle through it for kind of like the don't or like the do not, like the no smoking or whatever. But it's kind of like the long slash through there, OXE or OKS. I'm sorry. And
Okay.
yeah. So
We're
yeah,
both back in it and we have no clue.
yeah.
But I mean, seriously, that design of that watch is incredible. It's a really nice 42 millimeter sport model that is very much similar to a diver. The dials are incredible, nice dial options. So go ahead and check out the Valhalla Kickstarter that's live right now. And what else is going on? What is anybody? I don't feel like there's a lot going on, and COVID just continues to drag out.
Yeah.
The Raiders are somewhere in transit to the quality control in Florida, I believe. So it's somewhere between the manufacturer and Florida, unless they just haven't sent me the shipping from Florida to me. So they're somewhere in space coming to us. And I really, really wanted to have them at the end of the week. But there was also a Chinese holiday from the 1st to the 8th. So that holiday ends, I think, today in China, which is the 8th right now. So hopefully we'll have Raiders very, very, very soon. And we'll get those delivered. The visitor, the waiting list or the interest list should be starting to be fulfilled in November. So the Dunshore Shallows diver is going to be available. Anything else you can think of?
No, not right off the top of my head. I know there's a couple. I'm having a hard time coming up with it.
Right.
Yeah, but you did make a valid point because we are we're going to be coming up on a little bit of a shortage of content if we're not careful. Because as
Right.
you know, and anybody that's done business overseas, Chinese New Year is coming up. I forget what the date of that is too.
Well, that's in January.
It's in January. So but we're in October. So 3 months away, basically the country shuts down for a whole month and they just have a party.
Yeah.
So, things, manufacturing things just pretty much stop over there. So
yeah, Mitchell is trying to get a prototype of the Tourneau watch that we're calling it Project Officer, as we're not going to release the name just quite yet. But if you follow Mitchell timepieces, then you've seen the moon phase variant that we're working on and a power reserve variant that we've been working on. Getting a lot of feedback, so I'm playing with fonts and different movements. But as of right now, we're really looking at going the direction of a Swiss movement with a moon phase and maybe a time date only variant as well, so that we can kind of help people out with the cost, especially since that Swiss movement is going to be a substantially more expensive watch than say the Raider or the Power Reserve version of the Raider, which will be receiving prototypes of, hopefully end of this month or next month. So that's what's going on with Mitchell. That's what's going on with, from what we can think of right now, of what's going on in general. I know Group of Gamma is working on a new Peacemaker, a 43 millimeter Peacemaker, that should be able to be pre-ordered fairly soon as well. So that's kind of the state of the union in the microbrand world, to the best of our probably poor knowledge at this point.
Yeah. I mean, and if anybody has anything in the comments, anything that's really big that we're missing, or it's difficult. Almost anybody that actually watches this is in over half a dozen watch groups anyway. So sometimes it's just, you just miss things. I missed Brad's launch date when the Raider went on sale, and he's like, "Hey, you didn't get one," and I was like, "Did you launch yet?" And he's like, "Yeah, I launched it yesterday." I was like, "I didn't know." Yeah, so
those Facebook algorithms, I guess, because I mean, before I launched the Kickstarter, I had plastered, at least I thought I plastered, the link and everything everywhere. So I don't know. It's a tricky game unless you're paying a bunch of money in ads, and that doesn't always make sense, or isn't always fruitful. So anyway, so what's the show about today? Well, let's do a wrist check.
All righty.
Yep, as we both strap.
Oh, today, the Sangamon Mother Road, Route 66.
Yep. Black dial and white dial. So full disclosure, this was gifted to us for purposes of the show. So take that as you will. However,
full disclosure, I bought mine.
Yeah, exactly. Brian bought his, and I'm like, man, that's such a cool watch.
Yeah.
Before we get into the timepiece itself, let's talk about the brand, though, right?
Yeah.
So I've had several conversations with Brian Sangamon on Facebook, and he's one of the owners of the brand. Brian has also had a number of conversations. You started talking to him quite a bit after you bought your Mother Road, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I talk to him on a regular basis. We're hoping we can get together in the next month, actually, down here. So yeah, we're trying to work on something like that. Get some more historical things. I mean, these guys are really. That's really the heart and soul of the company. And
Americana, right?
It is.
It's Americana.
Yeah, it's Americana. Yeah. I think they did so well on their own watch, which is SangamonWatches.com. And it's in the banner. Yeah, perfect. And yeah, I mean, it says about it, Sangamon Watches was started in America's heartland by 2 international business travelers who wanted to combine their passions of history and high quality watches. Using their business experience, Sangamon designed stunning dress watches for men and women around meaningful American stories. And that's the big thing that the company is about meaningful American stories. And it's going to kind of move on from here. You're going to kind of get a little bit of a better idea. Every Sangamon watch is hand assembled in limited qualities and based on a special inspirational story. Almost always relating with American history. This is the Mother Road, aka Route 66 watch. Okay. So what is Sangamon? What's it mean? Sangamon Watch Company is named for the Sangamon River, which runs from central Illinois and feeds the Mississippi River.
And that's where, and I think I asked you that. I'm like, what is Sangamon?
Yeah.
And you're like, it's a river, dude. I'm like, well,
I was not aware until I got into this one. And so the river was loved by Abraham Lincoln, whose family settled along the river. He was a young man. The Sangamon region is also home of one of the finest watchmakers in the United States, the Illinois Watch Company. operated for 61 years, building nearly 6 million watches and had over 1,200 employees at its peak. It was a pioneer in timekeeping industry. Railroads across the world utilized their technology. Our employees still work in the long shadow of President Lincoln, feeling inspired by our region's rich history. Our name, Sangamon, is proud to honor the tradition of excellence. And it goes on to our founders here and say, Tyler McKay is a sixth-generation farmer from central Illinois who was taught true Midwestern values as a child by raising livestock and working around heavy machinery. His passion for business and entrepreneurship led him to the Geese College of Business at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, UIUC, where he was inspired to launch Sangamon watches while completing his MBA. Brian Sue followed his heart to America in the 80s and has 3 decades of international business experience, frequently traveling across the world. His deep appreciation for American history and President Lincoln's influence has kept him in Springfield, Illinois for over 25 years. Brian's passion for history and craftsmanship, along with his diverse skill set, has transformed our business model to be inspired by the American spirit.
And that says a lot right there. So we threw out a lot of important things in history. The Illinois Watch Company, Illinois was incredible. They were bought out by Hamilton in 1927 or so.
It gets sued.
I don't think so. So Illinois was taken over by Hamilton in the late 1920s anyway. But I collect pocket watches. So, Illinois is an incredible brand. Okay, the next thing that we brought up, President Lincoln, nobody hates Lincoln. He was, he's one of our most iconic presidents, was a phenomenal leader. And so we're right in the heart of where he's from. And that kind of leads us to the brand's first watch, or one of its early watches anyway, Lincoln's River, which is that nice, classy dress watch that you see on the website. And then they have the Omaha Beach, right?
Yeah.
Which is super cool. It's like a field watch style. It's nice, rugged. It's got a super accurate quartz, a Seiko quartz movement, and I love the subdial second.
Yeah,
that's a really cool design.
Yeah, and that one's a limited edition, only 500 watches. Some of the cool stuff. There's so many cool details hidden in these watches that once you get one in your hand, like for instance, on the back, the engraving and everything is amazing.
The case back designs, so cool.
Yeah, it's just it screams quality.
Yeah. There's only 310 of the Mother Road watches, so that's even more limited than the Omaha.
Yeah, and it's
and if you're looking for something that's a little edgy or a little different, the tie-dye dial is so cool.
It is.
It's pretty awesome.
It is. And yeah, the Omaha Beach. Here's one thing that Tyler and Brian they really take into account. And Brian, the dude, he's a machine, and I can't wait till we can have them on here and just talk about that. But in the Omaha Beach actually has 24 stars to represent the roughly 2,400 American casualties at Omaha Beach on June 6, 1944, or D-Day to the layperson. It's of course an estimate because they weren't exactly accurate, and yeah, it's limited of only 500 watches. So it's and that's part of the Freedom series. So you're starting to see there's multiple series of the watches. Well,
and it's
Brian and Tyler are in here, so yeah, they can.
Yeah, right. They're dropping knowledge in the chat, which is pretty awesome.
It is. That's fantastic.
You know, what I love about this is like the Route 66, God, excuse me, the Route 66 is so historic. It's, I mean, like we're talking about automobiles became dependable. You could drive further. Families were starting to look at doing road trips to go on vacations and stuff. So there was no real way to do that until Route 66 is the first highway essentially. And like, for lack of better terms, is the first real road went from Chicago to LA. And it's like this watch is literally a tribute to that historic landmark that is that road that goes, goes through my state in Arizona. And it's just super impressive. There's a card that comes with the watch that shows the route and different stops along the way. And I believe Brian, he actually drove part of it pretty recently, and he sent me so many pictures, and I was like, man, it just makes you want to get in the car and take a road trip. And I got the perfect watch to do that now. So it's pretty awesome. Talking about the watch a little bit. So we're looking at a 44 millimeter case, 316L. It's nice and slim at 12 millimeters thick. You've got black dial, white dial, brown, navy, and that tie-dyed, that really cool tie-dyed. And I believe there's 2 bronze cases. That would be the brown dial and the black dial. His sapphire anti-reflective crystal. Actually been posting a few pictures on Instagram, trying to utilize our taking the time Instagram a little bit more. So we did a couple of pictures.
Cool things in the watch box. Came with mine. And it was, I mean, just really, you can see, you kind of get an idea of all the color combinations. You can see this, the tie-dye on the end that Brad's talking about it's really cool. I think it's
out there.
Yeah. Just so cool. And it really, I mean, everything, this is on some serious card stock. So like everything just feels like quality, the packaging was fantastic. It is. I have it right here.
The leather strap is a nice thick rally style strap, ties right into that driver racing kind of feel. It's comfortable. You know what? And you highlighted this on your review. And so I have a pretty average wrist, and I have one spot that I could go tighter on my strap. But the great thing about this strap is it's actually long enough for you.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a well thought out length. Yeah, you got the keychains there, and is that a patch?
Yeah, it comes with a patch and a keychain. So, slap that on your driving jacket and rock and roll. I mean, and that's really it's about the love of America, just the love of Americana and iconic pieces of American history. And I know that these guys are working so hard all the time, and to try to create, it's nothing. There's nothing that's halfway about any of it. It's the details.
The dial, like, so I mean, I looked at this on the website, I don't know how many times, and you had it and you're like, man, that dial is just out of this world. And it's super, super hard to capture that dial on camera. And I did the best I could with that last post I did on Instagram. If you're following us at Taking the Time Watch Talk on Instagram, you can see that photo. I got a pretty good angle of that amazing dial. So it's like an American racing rim, that famous rim that you see on 60s cars. Yeah. And so it's a truly 3D dial, and you have nice, slender, simplistic hands that don't take away from that dial. And I think that's pretty important to the dial design, because there's so much going on with the dial that you don't need complicated, big hands, right? So it's like a minimalistic type hands to preserve the beauty of that dial, because I've never seen a dial that has such depth and such um, I guess depth. I'm at a loss
Yeah,
for words, but
there's
it's
a
unique.
lot going on under the crystal.
Yeah.
Under the anti-reflected coated sapphire dome crystal around the edge, basically on the chapter ring. There's it's basically kind of like an old school speedo.
Like a speedometer,
Instead
yeah.
of 10 at the bottom it says automatic, because kind of when in the era of the Krager SS wheels and everything, that automatic was an option. Almost, so much stuff was manual because it was less expensive. And, so the idea is if you wanted a car, you usually got a 3 on the tree, or, maybe if you were lucky, you had
4
enough
on the floor.
automatic. Yeah. 4 on the floor, or an automatic. Yeah. And
the bezel is fixed, and that's really how you're going to read the hours, essentially, other than just knowing where they are. The bezel's fixed, and that's where your hour markers are.
Yeah. I mean, and it's
I don't have a huge wrist like Brian, but you can
the
see
factory one. This is the factory. It fits with room to spare. And I mean, that's a paw. That's barely a hand. I mean, so yeah.
I think the only thing we didn't talk about is the 24 joule NH35 movement with the date feature. So I mean, a bulletproof movement to finish it off with.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic movement. It's been around. It's been put in everything. And the nice thing is that say you got one, and say maybe you got a brown one, and you say, oh man, but I think a different color set of hands or something would work on it. Well,
here goes
the NH35. If you want, I'm not going to go down a modding minefield and everything. So, but you can
sure
switch parts around on them. You can. Yeah. So and it's just one of those movements that they make so much stuff for it. And I'm not saying come get one and then take it apart. No, that's only stuff that I do. But
I haven't. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the day where the Raider has like different hands or something, and I'm like, oh god.
No, you're lucky. There's no date hidden under there, because I would have drilled a hole in it. Yeah.
Oh, you would have, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, anyway. I'm very pleased with this watch. It's going to get a lot of wrist time. The dial is just so freaking cool.
Yeah.
And like, if you're a car guy, go check it out. If you're a history buff, go check it out. If you just need a nice timepiece that has a good wrist presence, bingo.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. It's functional. I mean, if you're going to, meet up with some other people, do car or motorcycle, any kind of motorsport related activity, this is going to become a topic of conversation by the time you're gone, so, and I'm sure that Brian and Tyler wouldn't mind you talking it up a little bit for them as well. So
Brian just said the tie-dyed option was inspired by Cadillac Ranch. Have you ever been to Cadillac Ranch?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I have not.
It's quite interesting. I was there. I drove through there maybe around 2007 or 8. So there's like, I can't remember how many. There's like maybe 6 Cadillacs that are just buried into the ground, and there's like all these spray cans, and you can just walk up and spray paint them in. And so I mean, that makes perfect sense, because the cars look like it's a rainbow colors, because people just go and spray on them, and so that makes perfect sense. I was thinking like it was something from like the 60s, like, because that's when people really started to get out and travel and take vacations and stuff. But there you go. Firsthand.
Yeah, I don't know how they came up with the idea. Somebody just, they had it.
I mean, it's just like I love history. We're kind of both nerds. It is what it is,
Yeah.
right? So I mean that's what drew me in. And you found the watch, and you're like, you know what? I've just ordered, and I'm like, there's like a million possibilities there. What it? And then you sent me the website, and you're like, don't get on that website too much, or you're going to end up ordering one too. And I'm like, oh, you're probably right. So
Yeah, and you ended up with one. And yeah, I mean,
right,
Tyler clarified earlier, and so did Brian, saying that Sangamon's a Native American meaning for place that's bountiful.
bountiful, yeah.
And Illinois Secretary of State's office endorses a popular, albeit boosterish explanation named after the Sangamon River, which is derived from its name from the Potawatomi Indian word Sangamon, Sanguimon, or Sangamon, produced Sangamon, literally meaning where there is plenty to eat, or what we would call as the land of milk and honey. So, I mean, this is now an area, and I've lived in kind of the Midwest. I was stationed out in Fort Riley, Kansas, which is in the middle of nowhere. And I've driven through this area, and I never really got a chance to stop and appreciate the amount of history that's there. So through this watch, I've been inspired to travel. I mean, basically get in the car, get on the bike, go. And so it really does. It inspires you to take a journey through time, through America, enjoy it. There's COVID and other stuff going on. So you're in your car. It's not the end of the world. You could do that. So,
Yeah.
It's
Perfect time to take a road trip.
Yeah.
And it's like, and no matter what section of it you get on and enjoy, like in Arizona, there's the Petrified Forest is like right off the right off. It's relatively close to off of the Route 66. Kingman, there's like a train depot in Kingman, Arizona. I mean, you can finish it off and end up in Santa Monica, which is, the Santa Monica Pier. And so, I mean, like there's always, there's something through each section and each state. There's all kinds of different like roadside attractions to stop and check out. And it's pretty interesting. And it's a landmark that's well worth making a watch to tribute. That's what I take away from that. And whether, driving or that specific historic landmark's your thing or not, you want to follow Sangamon watches to see what they're going to come out with next, because it's going to be worth taking a look at, and maybe it's your thing, and then that's your watch. So
yeah, and it's just my experience has been so fantastic with, I mean, everyone there. Has always been so nice from day one. It wasn't just like, oh, what do you want? Just, are you going to order the watch or not? No, that's not how it was. Everyone made me feel like when I bought this, I felt like I joined a family. Then I'm not just blowing smoke, literally. I felt like a part of a team, and that goes into when you do get it, you get a metal card that gives you access to Sangamon Doc, which is it's a site online, and basically it's kind of like an owner's club, and
cool.
You can talk.
Haven't got that far yet. So
pretty much, I mean, well, and you can talk to pretty much a lot, tons of different people about anything. All the news that Brian and Tyler get, that it makes it there first. So it's really cool. It's a great bunch of people. And they've literally generated this online community of owners, and it's kind of it's a nice feeling. Everyone's always really, really cool and very nice.
Yeah, so, and I haven't talked to Tyler yet, but I've talked to Brian a few times, and I mean, we could chat all day long, like just a cool cat to talk to and converse with, for sure.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, we're trying to work something out to be able to meet up. I don't know, maybe sometime this year or early next year down where I am. I'm kind of near Andersonville National Historic Site, which was a Civil War prison. We also have aviation museums and things like that for, some of the other watches. And it's just, I mean, there's a good bit of history in the Southeast too. Not all of it's pretty, but it is real. So,
Well, I mean, there's a Holocaust museum in Atlanta.
You have the Dr. Martin Luther King.
There's a lot of NASCAR history there.
Yeah, Civil Rights Museum. You have numerous aviation museums. You have Fort Campbell, home of the Army Rangers and infantry. And I was trying to work it out that whenever Brian did come down here, it would be for a Ranger graduation, because it's a lot of fun to go to, especially being a military historian and just a historian in general. It's really cool. I mean, you get big explosions and helicopters flying over the water and fast boats. And
how far are you from Carter's Library? Isn't it in Georgia?
Yeah, it's about 15 minutes away. Jimmy Carter, he only lives about 10 minutes from me.
You're neighbors with Jimmy Carter.
Not really, but I'm not neighbors, but I mean,
10 minutes. That's close enough.
Yeah, 10 minutes. Yeah, but my mother actually got a chance to go to meet him and do, when he was still doing Sunday school, which he's no longer doing. He basically kind of was a pastor at a local church in Plains, Georgia. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, Brian, if you're still on here or listening, if you want to try to get in touch with the Carters, maybe you can get in there. I don't have that magic key, but you might. So yeah, if you want to meet Jimmy Carter or anybody like that, it's a possibility. And then again, there's always a possibility that you'll just meet him in town. Every Saturday he gets his hair cut at the same place. And so, I mean, he's just a small town guy. He's done a lot of really great things since after he was president. Not to get political, I mean, but he did a lot of stuff, Habitat for Humanities right in this area and everything else. So he's done a whole lot of work for that, and he's getting older. So if you want to come visit and see if you can't see him, it's probably come sooner than later. Because
And I mean, presidential libraries are cool to visit anyway. I've been to Truman's library, and that was I always say, and again, this isn't a political platform or anything like that, but I always said that Truman's our last good president. He was the guy that after he was out of office, he refused to take a free Chrysler or Cadillac or something because he believed he should pay for it. Yeah, I mean, just an impressive guy. Honest, but yeah, again, not to get political. I mean, Truman's far enough back to where I don't think we're going to be worried too much about that, right? So you can agree or disagree whether it was a good president.
That's far enough. And he was not at all. I don't think he was. I don't know of, and I am a historian. I don't think he was extremely controversial, really.
No. Truman was a true American. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. But yeah.
And we need to stop.
Yeah.
That conversation right there.
No politics on taking the time, because there's enough of that on the news if you'd rather watch that. But apparently you don't mind us because there's a few people watching. So that's fantastic.
Hey, you're not going to hear political ads right here.
No, you're not.
Everybody should be watching.
You're going to hear about cool watches. You're going to hear about cool stuff coming up. That's what we're trying to do. If you're a brand owner or anybody that's thinking about it over the next, couple months, feel free to reach out and get in touch. Let us know if you have something to review, because come January, I mean, things are going to dry out for a little bit. So we kind of need to stockpile a little bit of content, so we're not just here boring you while you're watching us in your bathroom or wherever you are.
If we start doing an episode about the Oyster Perpetual crisis with all those color dials, you'll know we're in trouble.
No comment.
You know what? I saw a guy. He got one, and he of course he's flipping it. And so this is like I think they're like retailing for $5,900 for the new Rolex Oyster Perpetual with the colored dials. I saw somebody trying to sell one for like $12,000. Like
The same
double-
thing happened when the Dodge
double
Hellcat
that.
came out and the Demon came out, and Dodge stuck with the number that they were only going to produce 3,000 of them. Guys bought them for $100,000 and sold them for $400,000. I mean, it is what it is.
And Michael said, if it gets down to Invicta, just end the broadcast. You're right.
I'm going to be ending more than that. And,
I will not speak of that brand.
Yeah.
But, hey, with that being said, we need to probably wrap this up and shut her down. Yeah.
Yeah. Right around 35, 36 minutes. So yeah, people can only look at my mug for so long. That's why I brought the macro lens to blur me out and get a really try to get some up close shots of this beautiful Mother Road from Sangamon Watches. Really great stuff. So say that this
the dial is just so freaking cool. Get on over to SangamonWatches.com. It's scrolling in the banner right there. Check out the Mother Road. I don't know how many pieces are left, but I know they're getting low on certain dials at best. So go check those out. Also, make sure you're following us on Instagram at Taking the Time Watch Talk. And that's where we're going to start trying to utilize posting more pictures and kind of giving people a heads up of what our shows are about. Our YouTube channel, of course, is Veterans Watch Collector channel to watch previous shows. We're also on podcasts, so if you go to iTunes, we'll post a link to that as well. I think I covered it, man. We're a little rusty, but I think we checked all the boxes.
Shake the rust off, all right, there, Tin Man. So that's how we roll, and it's just good. Glad to be back at it. I'm glad to be. Honestly, we're talking about road trips. I'm glad to be off the road, spending like 20 hours in my Challenger. It wasn't a bad drive, but it was a long drive. So yeah, I was glad to get back, and so. Yeah, and glad to come out and say hi to everybody. Have some really cool stuff to show you this time.
Yeah.
Until
big shout out to Brian and Tyler both.
Yeah,
this is awesome. Super awesome.
Cool. Yeah,
we appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely
for sure. And Brian loves his, so we're all good. All right, guys. Next week, I think we're going to look at a chronograph. Is it a quartz chronograph?
It is. Interesting. Now this, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do a minor spoiler alert on this one. Water resistance on a chronograph, 300 meters. That is super. That's way deeper than I'm gonna dive. I know it's way deeper than I don't even know if humans can dive that deep, but we both dive, and it's so it'll be interesting. And no, I'm not going to try for it. So sorry for everybody that was hoping that I'd, go into Davy Jones' locker and never come back. So, but yeah, it is. It's an interesting watch. I'm still trying to get some of the final details sorted on that one, and it's cool. It's cool. I think it'll be fun. It's a fun watch, and it's not. So I don't want to give too much away, but we'll stop there because I'll start giving stuff away. Again, Sangamon Watches, thank you very much. Fantastic piece. Go check out their stuff. Make sure you're liking, follow us on Facebook, Taking the Time Watch Talk on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We're Veterans Watch Collector channel. And that's it for us, guys. Thanks and have a good one. Until next time. Bye.